All right. It's good to see so many of you on tonight. I'm going to just mute everyone real quick so we don't have background noise. If you have anything to say, you can unmute yourself. But I cannot believe October, literally, I blinked and September was gone. I feel like every month has been so fast, but September by far so fast. The fastest month of the year. But there's lots of fun announcements that I wanted to quickly go over before I hand it over to Emily and whenever she gets on, because I still don't see her on. So if you didn't check the news, obviously we've been talking about it, but Shift Shop challenge packs are on sale now. They are $20 off. And if you buy or sell a challenge pack, you can be in the test group that Chris Downing is going to be running. And that's super exciting also, that coaches can now purchase challenge packs and completion packs, which I think is mostly beneficial for, because we can still purchase products when you really think about it, the discount and everything, putting it together, that is, you still save money. But when we renew our Beachbody On Demand, when your renewal is up and you're able to get a challenge pack to renew your bod, I think that's awesome, and especially for all of our discount coaches as well. So keep that in mind. There's also the Make Your Mark promotion this month. So there are 4 different markers, and it kind of is like a play off of the markers with Shift Shop. But with marker number 1, if you hit Success Club in the month of October, then you get your current Success Club prize. So if you haven't hit yet, then you would get the hat, because those Success Club prizes came out for the end of the year, for the last 6 months of the year. So you would get your hat. If it's like your 3rd month, then you would get the tank top. So whatever that is. Marker number 2. So marker number 1 isn't like super exciting because we've already had it each month. But once you get to marker number 2 is if you hit Success Club 10, or if you hit Success Club 5 and one of your personally sponsored coaches hit Success Club, then you get an exclusive insulated water bottle. Marker number 3, you get a motivational magnetic desktop vision board if you hit Success Club 15, or if you hit Success Club 5 and 2 of your personally sponsored coaches hit Success Club. And then the last marker is a Cozy Team Beachbody Coach hoodie, and that is if you hit Success Club 20, or if you hit Success Club 5 and 3 of your personally sponsored coaches achieve Success Club. So I love that they're having this promotion where it's encouraging you have control over, reaching Success Club and achieving those high numbers, but also helping and mentoring your own coaches to achieve Success Club to get those rewards too. Hi, Emily, I see you're on. We're just going over some announcements first before you start. Okay, this is huge for Coach Summit. For Coach Summit, first off, you are able to, if you don't have a ticket yet, then there is going to be a flash sale from October 20th through the 31st of the month, where you can get a discounted ticket for $145. So that's awesome. But if you are a Diamond Coach or below, you have the ability to earn 200 bonus points. And the reason why they say bonus points, for those of you in the US, that's like $200, but they go by bonus points because of the Canadian and UK currency exchange, whatever. But anyways, you can earn that travel cash to help defer the cost of going to Summit if you have your ticket by the end of October, and if you achieve Success Club in October, November, and December. So that is pretty awesome. They have never offered that since I've been a coach. I've been a coach for, I'm coming up over 5.5 years, 6 years in January. So never have they offered that. So that's pretty cool that they're offering that. Also, just a reminder, a little more obsessed is coming out October 8th, next week. Super Saturday is coming up. If you haven't looked for a Super Saturday in your location, definitely find one. It is on October 20th. For the UK, it is the 27th. And then for our Canadians, pumpkin spice is coming out on October 11th. So that's very exciting. I'm anxious to see how quickly it sells out in Canada compared to the United States. Okay, so we are going to move on. Emily Luciano is going to be presenting tonight for us. I'm very excited to have her on. We've had the ability to work together. We met in one of Josh Coates' mastermind groups and have continued to work together outside of it. But she was a premier coach last year. She is a 5-star diamond coach. She has already achieved elite for this year. She is 33 months in Success Club 10. She is a fellow Penn Stater for all the Penn Staters on here. And she is planning a wedding right now. She's getting married next summer, right? Like before Summit, right? And yeah, so take it away, Emily. Please share with us.
Hi guys. Well, first of all, sorry for the computer issues. It would like not load. And then I got on my phone and then it loaded and all that. So I apologize for the delay. But yeah, I can tell you guys a little bit about me and then I'll go into, we're going to talk about finishing the end of the year strong and then just tips that I have for finishing the end of the year strong, but also leading into a good 2019, which is just crazy to me that I'm even saying that. Like, I seriously just feel like this year started. I feel like September went by in a blink of an eye, and I just think time goes so fast. It's insane. But I want you guys to interact with me. If you ever have any questions, just don't hesitate. Like, raise your hand. I can either take questions during or after, like however you guys like to roll. But I just want it to be interactive, flow with you guys, and answer any questions. So I always say, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story because hopefully a piece of it resonates with you. Now, I know we all come from so many different backgrounds and we're all different types of coaches. We want to take this business different places. But my hope when I guest speak on a team is that you can find one part of my story that resonates with you in any way. And then we have that connection and just to help you because, I mean, I say the same thing to my girls all the time on my team, but then when they hear it from someone else, it clicks. So I hope I can just give you that little piece of something that clicks with you tonight and you can take action on it. So yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm sure many of you may be on this call are from Pennsylvania. If you're in Pennsylvania, raise your hand. Maybe some of you. Oh yeah, a lot of you now. Are any of you Penn Staters that raised your hand? Woo! Except I'm so sad about the game on Saturday. Like, still upset over it. Still very bitter. But I grew up in Pennsylvania in a town called Altoona. It's like 45 minutes from State College. I went to school at Penn State in State College, only 45 minutes away from home, but it felt so far at the time. Never pictured myself moving across the country back at that time, but I had a lot of personal growth in college. Went to school there for food science. I always say I didn't know what I wanted to do in college, so I kind of just was like, all right, I'm good at math and science, and I like food, so I'll do whatever this food science major is. Like, I didn't really even understand it, and that will play into my story here. But went to school, got good grades. I have the very, like, cookie cutter, checked off all the boxes type of story. So, excuse me, my nose is so itchy tonight. But I kept checking all the boxes, like go to school, get good grades. I was a dancer for 14 years. I ran cross country for 7 years. I was vice president of our club cross country team at Penn State. And many of you may not relate to some of that, but you can probably relate to just feeling like you always have to do the next thing, like always having to check off the next thing in life and never really taking time to celebrate that joy and journey along the way and just always looking for something to fulfill you. So I then worked at Kraft Foods in New York for a summer for my internship. And this is where I started to really realize that food science wasn't my thing. They offered me a full-time job and I turned it down, and I got so much hate for that, like from peers, from my parents, like everyone. And that's when I just realized, okay, that job's not going to make me happy. And I was always very much about doing what made me happy, but I wasn't quite ballsy enough to switch my major because I had this idea in my head, I have to go to college for 4 years, I can't stay longer, I don't want to pay to go longer. So I was too nervous to switch my major, and at the same time, I wanted to switch my major to kinesiology because I love health and fitness. I've always had a passion for it, But just from my parents and people I grew up around, I was told, no, you won't make money doing what you love. You just have to like suck it up and have a job you hate. And that's how life is, kind of type of thing. Like, go do what you hate. You can have hobbies in health and fitness, but you can't work in health and fitness because that doesn't pay the bills. So I just kept going, graduated. That's when I moved to Arkansas. Never in my life thought I would have lived in Arkansas. Do I have anyone that lives in Arkansas on this call? Probably not. But it was actually a really great learning experience. And Tyler, my now fiance, went with me. I got a job at the Walmart and Sam's Club headquarters. And I was like, all right, it's a job in my field. Like, I should be very grateful. And it was out of my field, out of the jobs I could have gotten. I was happy with that one. It was more like sensory science. So if you ever need recommendations at Sam's Club, I've literally tasted every single product that they sell. I worked with a lot of the suppliers. Like, literally my job was like, it shouldn't have been this. It was a lot of data analysis, but then they would bring me like 12 different chocolate muffins and be like, what's the difference in each of them, and tell us how to make them better, and then we're going to sell that one because we want it to taste good for people to buy more. Like, that was literally like an overview of my job. So at this point in Arkansas, I was eating all day, every day for my job. I had a hip surgery, a major hip surgery. I couldn't run anymore. I had to have another one on the other hip, and then I also had a random major hernia surgery. So my life just kind of was like in shambles at this point because I couldn't work out, and that was like totally part of my identity. I was eating like crap, so I felt like crap. I didn't recognize that at the time, but hello, duh. And then I just like lost my identity. I didn't have a team anymore with having a team growing up. I was not happy in my corporate job. Like I said, I kept checking all those boxes and I should have felt happy. Like, on paper, it looked happy. And even from like Facebook, it looked happy because I had a great job, great salary, great benefits, 401k. We just moved into a house. We got our dog, Kaya, who's like the love of my life. More than my fiance probably sometimes, but I'm just kidding, maybe. But everything on paper looked picture perfect, and we were living like the American dream for only being 23 years old. We both had good jobs and everything, and that was really hard for me to admit that I wasn't actually happy or fulfilled or any of that. And I think that can be really hard for people to admit, especially from the outside looking in, when people are like, you have it all together, like you should be grateful you have a job in your field. And I was very grateful, but I just was like, I can't live for 50 more years like this. So that's when coaching entered my life. I know it always sounds like so cliche. That's when coaching entered my life, but really it did. And I say it was my dream job that I never even knew existed. Long story short, I started coaching. I met my coach at the gym that I was going to. She was a personal trainer and group fitness instructor there. I said I didn't have time for the longest time because at that point also I was working 50 hours a week and going to grad school to get my MBA online full time. Just got a puppy, just moved into a house. Like, I really didn't have time to add something else to my plate. But I kept watching her and I was super jealous. I was like, what are these trips she's going on? And like, she's working out on a cruise ship with people. Like, I want to do that. So I always say you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Because Holly, my coach, will even say now, like, I had no idea what I was doing when I asked you. Like, I didn't know what to teach you. I didn't know anything. She was still pretty new too. But I knew it kept coming back into my mind, and I reached out to her and started. So when I started, I had pretty much 30 minutes to 1 hour max a day to work. I didn't even really fully understand the vision of this or what it could turn into. I didn't have any desire to quit I shouldn't say that. I had desire to quit my job. I didn't know this would lead me to be able to do that. Like, I really just thought this was a hobby still. So that was in November 2015. And then in January 2016 is when I had my second hip surgery and my hernia surgery. And I was literally I was laying in bed. I couldn't move. I couldn't sit up by myself. I couldn't like feed myself. It was a bad time. I laugh at it now, but it was just like horrible. So I listened to pretty much every national wake up call as I laid in bed. And that's when I started hearing stories of other coaches who were like, I do this full time and I got to take my family on these trips and all this stuff. And I'm just like, what is this opportunity? So I tell you all of that to just remember that I think our Facebooks and our Instagrams can get so cluttered with other Beachbody coaches. So please stop following other Beachbody coaches and just put your blinders on. But we can get so caught up in that where we think everyone knows about Beachbody. We think everyone knows about network marketing. We think people are sick of getting asked. But I wish someone would have asked me years ago. Like, I wish I knew about this opportunity. And I do believe everything happens for a reason at the right time. But there's still people out there, and this is a reminder to myself even, there's still people out there that this is their dream job or maybe their dream hobby or their dream side income that they don't know exists yet, and it's our job to pass that gift along to them. So just remember that. And then long story short, I quit my corporate job. Tyler and I moved out here to Colorado. Insert income disclaimer, it takes a lot of hard work, but I was working only an hour to 2 max at that time after I finished up my MBA. I'll give you those tips on consistency and everything. But I came out to Colorado where Tyler got into grad school, and I worked as a cashier at Sam's Club for a year and a half. So I knew I wanted to do this full time. I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I transferred with the company instead of coming out here and finding another full-time food science corporate job. And I slowly worked 5 days a week to 4 days to 3 days to 2 days to 1 day until I finally quit in March of this year, as when I started full-time coaching. And along the way, I mean, it's a lot of personal growth, a lot of hard work, but it's so fun and rewarding. And I'll go into my tips now. So that was just a little bit story about me. We now live in Colorado. We love it out here. We'll probably eventually be back to Pennsylvania when we want to have kids someday to be around family. But for now, we're just loving life out here. Like Michelle said, we're getting married next July, 3 days before Summit. Didn't plan that when I knew when Summit was going to be, but we're still going to Summit. That's our pre-honeymoon, and then we'll go right into the honeymoon. But we'll have fun at Summit, of course. I wouldn't want to miss it for the world. And then, yeah, we have a dog, and Tyler's in school still, and that's pretty much our life right now. But I'm going to go into my tips. So I have a couple of tips for you guys today, and just to touch on, this is October, and you can easily say, you know what, the holiday time is stressful, I don't feel like doing this. No one wants to buy anything. No one cares about their health and fitness over the holidays. But I can tell you right now, if you want any sort of business next year, and if you're thinking, oh, I'll refocus in January with the new year, you need to put in that work now. If you take this time to really step back or not do much in your business, come the new year, no one's going to work with you. Maybe a couple people, but you can either put in that work now and have momentum going into the new year and new people already on board with you and help people in these last couple months of the year. We don't want this to be a trend of every year, the last 3 months, people put on 15 or 20 pounds because they keep eating all the cookies, or just have an extra cookie here, or some apple cider here, or whatever. We want to be the person that people look up to and say, you know what, if so-and-so, if Amy can be healthy during the holidays, then I can be. Or if Brittany can show that she's still working out during the holidays, then I can. And that's not to say not to go enjoy life and enjoy the holidays, but be that example for other people and get your momentum going for the new year. This Q4 is what leads right into Q1. And if you put your brakes on, it's going to be really, really hard to start back up again. Just imagine if you're on a bike, if you slow down a little bit, you can start pedaling back up, and you can pedal and you'll go faster and faster. But if you halt on those brakes, it's really hard to get started again. If you're at a crosswalk, sometimes you can almost fall over on a bike. Maybe just me, I don't know. But it's really hard to get started back up again on that. So keep your momentum going with balance. And I'll talk about that at the end. So tip number 1 is to go all in. And I love the analogy I use for this as a runner. Going all in, first of all, just has to be a decision you make. There's nothing physical you need to do about going all in. It is literally just a decision in your head. So right now, I want you to decide, I'm all in with this. And I want you to clarify what all in means for you, because all in can be, for me, I was like, this is my full-time, I want this to be my full-time job. But all in for someone else, maybe I love my job, but I want this to be X amount of supplemental income. Or all in, maybe I want to pay for my Shakeology every month. Or all in, maybe I have a goal of helping 10 people every month. Or whatever your all in is, that's up to you. I don't care what all in means to you, but you need to decide that that's your all in. So if you decide that I want to help, if I want to get my Shakeology covered and help 3 people a month, do that. That's a non-negotiable for you. You decide right now in your head, right now, just close your eyes and say, I'm deciding XYZ. I am making the decision that I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to stop until I hit these goals. And all in for you, like I said, can be whatever it is, but all that is a mental flip in your head, like turning a switch on and off. That's what going all in means. You have to decide that. Now, I say it's a lot more fun to go all in and know you're all in than having one foot in, one foot out. Now, my analogy for this is, imagine you're running and you're jumping over a hurdle on the track. If you start to jump over a hurdle and only one foot goes over, that bar is like going to go up your crotch, and that's really going to hurt. Like, so you're just going to be straddling this hurdle, and it's not going to be fun. It's going to be painful. You have like one leg over here and one leg on the other side. And that's just painful. It's painful for you. It's painful for other people to watch. Other people are like, is she doing this or isn't she doing this? Like, do you realize people are watching us waiting for us to quit? They're literally waiting for us to quit, and they want to see us go all in with this, or they want to see us quit. So you have to prove to someone that you're going to go all in. So jump over the hurdle with both feet and go all in and get on the other side of that. And for you, that may mean, okay, I need to go all in on believing in this business. So maybe research network marketing podcasts so you understand the business more. Or if you're not using the products, workout, personal development, Shakeology, like our vital behaviors, like you need to go all in on all of that because other people can see it and feel it. So next time you're like, I don't know, just think about having your crotch in a hurdle and then go all in, okay? Number 2 is consistency. And I know this is like something you hear over and over and over and over again, but guys, I like to say I'm the prime example of consistency because I am not a coach that had quick success. I am not a coach that had a post go viral. I am not a coach that went to 5-star in 6 months. I am not a coach that made a ton of money right away. Like, I'm still nowhere near where I want to be, and I'm almost at my 3-year mark. But I'm progressing every single year. My income has doubled every single year. Just everything is with consistency, and that consistency may be different for you. Like I said, when I started, I worked a half hour to an hour a day, but I was consistent with that. I did the daily things I had to do every single day. At that time, I was doing 5 new messages and 3 invites a day because that is all I had time for. But I did them every single day. I had a little bet with myself in a little game because I would go to work 7 to 5. I would come home, do my workout, make and cook dinner, clean up, work on my MBA from like 8 to 10, and then from 10 to 11 at night was normally my power hour for coaching. And I that was like my happy time of the day, honestly, because I hated my job, I hated my MBA, but I got to look forward to that hour of coaching. If I didn't get my 3 invites in during that time, I didn't allow myself to go to bed. So like I would not let my head hit the pillow until I got my invites in. And now I do a lot more invites than that because I'm full time, but I want to show you what I was doing then. And it's just that consistency over time. And I mean, the number of invites can change, whatever, but like whatever it is for your goals. But I did that every single day consistently. And I, like Michelle said, I don't care about numbers or status or whatever. But just to show you guys, I was still hitting Success Club 10, normally 20 or 30, just by being consistent over that time. And over time is what grows my business. Josh, who we worked with as our mentor, my favorite quote and like lesson that I learned from him, I have it written up here, is consistency plus intensity plus time equals momentum. When I first started working with him, I really struggled with the fact that, Josh, I'm so consistent. I'm the queen of consistency. And I'm intense. I'm doing 20 invites. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And I'm not seeing momentum. And I had to give it that time piece. Like, this is different for all of us. And whereas I may look at Bonnie Engel and see her success in 2 years, I like came into this business thinking, okay, well, I can do that in 2 years. And you know what? Sometimes that's just not meant to be. Sometimes like it doesn't turn out that way. And we have to realize not everyone's going to have success in 1 year or 2 years. Like, but as long as you're consistent, that success is going to come. And am I where I want to be? No, but we hit some huge goals this year and I celebrate along the way. Am I happy with where I am right now? Yes. Do I know, like, I'm content, I'm happy, and you have to be happy wherever you're at. You have to be happy at coach level, but know you can get to Emerald. You have to be happy at Diamond, but know you can get to 2-star. You have to be happy and celebrate how far you got, but know there's always that next step with consistency as you go. So with that, I want to also add not to focus on the fancy things. So I like you guys to learn from my mistakes. I don't have like a bunch of uplines working the business, so I kind of just learned this all by myself. But when I quit my corporate job, I was like, because I went to part-time work then, I was like, oh my gosh, I have all this extra time in the day. And I started like making a Pinterest and making a website and like linking them and all this cool fancy stuff that I like saw top coaches doing. But I wasn't in a place in my business where I should be doing that yet because I don't have a large following and didn't. And like that stuff was not growing my business, but I thought it was. And I kept doing the same amount of power hour and invites and messages when really, if you find yourself wanting to grow more, having more time, just up what you're doing of the daily vitals. Do more messages, do more invites, and wait until you get to, like, now I'm working on some website stuff, but I have the time and I still do the intensity with the invites. Like, don't go to the fancy things when you're not ready for it. And that's when Michelle can help you or your upline can help you decide, okay, like, no, I wouldn't do that yet, or yes, you're at a place to do that. I don't know each of your personal businesses, but just from my experience, don't go chasing fancy things. Just do your vitals and do the work and do more of them if you find yourself with that time. All right, number 3 is personal development. I know something you guys hear over and over and over again, but I wouldn't say it if it wasn't so important. I came from a fitness background, dancer, runner. I was going to the gym when I started Beachbody. So I've had physical transformations throughout my time, but nothing huge. My biggest transformation has been from personal development, from my mindset. I like can't even describe how much it's changed me, but I am a girl who didn't read at all. Like, I was a math and science girl. English was not my jam. I think the last book I read before coaching was probably like The Outsiders in 7th grade. And then I like sparked notes everything else through high school because I just didn't like to read. So when I started coaching and my coach was like, you should read a personal development book, I'm like, what? Like, what is that? No, I hate reading. I was like, I will watch a movie. Like, is there a personal development movie? Like, I don't want to read a book. But I started with this slight edge, and I wish I could turn my camera and just show you guys my bookcase right now of how many books I've read since then. But I started with a slight edge and just realizing, okay, 10 minutes of a day can change your whole mindset. And I was in a negative place at work with negative boss, negative coworkers. I needed that positive outlet that I didn't even know existed. I did not know of all these personal development gurus. It has totally changed my life. Starting with books and then podcasts on my commute to work. My commute was short. It was like 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes, you can get a lot of personal development in instead of listening to negativity on the radio. Like, any little free time you have, fill it with positive things, because if you have positive people talking in your ears, you won't have your own negative voices in your head. And that plays a huge role. And then just expanding beyond that, guys, I say this business is 90% mental and 10% everything else. Like if you can't get past the roadblocks in your head, the fears in your head, the limiting beliefs in your head, you're not going to grow. And people can feel your energy too. So like if you're like, I'm doing all the things, but no one is signing up, I really challenge you to check yourself, check your energy, check your beliefs, check if you're excited to wake up every day, if you're excited to do this stuff, and like express that excitement on social media. But that really comes from personal development. And without giving you guys like my whole life story, I went to Marketing Impact Academy with Shalene Johnson a couple years ago. And while I was there, I heard her talk about therapy. And therapy is just nothing that was ever on my radar. I was like, I don't need therapy. Like nothing's seriously wrong with me. Like I don't have any like childhood traumas or something besides like falling into a coffee table and getting 20 stitches in my gum as a child. But I was very fortunate because I had a good childhood. And so I heard that she went to therapy and like for a good thing. And I was like, okay, interesting. Years go by and I'm just surrounded by Beachbody, surrounded by positive people, surrounded by people growing themselves constantly. And this sounds silly. I promise it's not. I've always had like a horrible, horrible, horrible fear of throw up. Like I get extremely bad anxiety over it. Like I don't even know, there's probably a term for it, but I just have anxiety in general, but I didn't even realize that I did. But like literally if someone is throwing up, I like start getting cold sweats. I like have to leave. I'm not good to take care of people. Like I'm working on it because I don't know how I'm going to have kids and deal with it for real. Like it's an issue. I get terrible plane anxiety. And I realized all this when I took my mom to the Punta Cana Beachbody trip in 2017. And we got on the plane. And yeah, just wait for kids. I know. That's why I need to work on it now. I'm getting a little better. But we got on the plane and she was sitting beside me and I like put my hoodie up, tightened the strings, had my earphones in, and she's like, what are you doing, Emily? Like, you look weird. And I was like, I can't since it's like a closed space, if someone gets sick, I can't handle it. So I like have to drown it out with headphones, put my hoodie up. I can't see out of my blind spots. And that's when I was like, maybe this is an issue. Like this isn't really normal. But I tell you that because if I wasn't a part of Beachbody, if I wasn't doing personal development, if I wasn't around people who were like, therapy is not a bad thing, I would have never went. And from that little silly moment of going into therapy a year ago and being like, I don't think anything's wrong with me, I just really can't handle throw up, it has turned into a year of the most personal growth I've ever had in my entire life, from learning I really do have really bad anxiety, not just with throw up, but just in my actions every day that I would have never, I just thought that was normal. Like I thought everyone had those feelings and fears. And I know that stuff is like personal, but I tell you guys because if personal development wasn't in my life, I would never be working on this stuff to be a better daughter, a better wife, a better mom someday. Like Beachbody is so much more than just a health and fitness company, than just some Shakeology, than just Beachbody on demand. And when you realize that and you realize what it's done for you and what it's going to continue to do for you, like that's when you want to pass this gift forward, because it's not just a shake. It's not just a workout. It is literally changing your entire life if you let it, if you're open to it. So I can't recommend personal development anymore. If you have a therapist or can go to therapy, like I totally recommend that too. I know that's a side topic, but just know that it's okay, because I know that it's a big stigma, but getting better. But I just like can't even express the personal growth I've had, that I'm continuing to have, and you have to let yourself feel that and let yourself change. I know change can be scary, but when you realize too that this business is 90% mental and how you think and 10% the actions you take, then your business is going to start to reflect that as well. So tip number 4 is don't wait for someone else to do it for you. So you guys have an awesome upline. Michelle is amazing. Not everyone in this business is lucky to have awesome uplines. Like I said, my uplines don't really work that much anymore. So I was like, came into this business with, a really old version of Coach Basics. So I like wanted to revamp it for my team. I couldn't wait for my uplines to do all that for me. Like if I wanted to grow this business, I had to go out and grow this business and figure it out on my own. So be resourceful. Like, yes, Michelle's amazing, but also be resourceful with Google and YouTube and the back office. Like I literally built my business from YouTube and Google because that's all I knew. I watched other coaches training videos. Like I feel like I know these other coaches that don't even know who I am because I've watched so many of their training videos. And that's also with other things. So I'm going to give you guys an example, and you don't need to go to this extent of it, but I was really jealous when I saw all these teams going on retreats because I love that stuff, like gift giving and hanging out in person and retreats and stuff. That's my jam. And my uplines don't work really, so there's no team retreats. Like I never got invited to a diamond retreat. I never got invited to a star diamond retreat because they just don't have them. Like 5 levels up, no one has these retreats. So I was like so crushed because I was like, I want to go on this retreat, and like how cool would that be for social media and like just getting to know other people and like having a weekend of fun. And my business, this was back in February and March that I was thinking this for like 2 years, but really in February and March, I was like really bumming because then I was like, well, I could have a retreat, but I don't have any diamonds. So back in this year, my only 2 diamonds, because I was premier last year, were my spouse and my dad for my U+2. Like honestly, you can get yourself to 2-star and open up that second business center, and it really helps your income. But my only 2 diamonds were myself for my spouse and my dad. And I was like, I want to have a retreat, but I saw all these people having diamond retreats. I was like, well, I don't have any diamonds to take on a retreat. So I changed my mindset around it. And I was like, you know what? I can't wait for someone else to invite me to their retreat because there are none. That's not going to happen. And I can't just wait until I have 15 diamonds to have a retreat because that's really far out still. As much as I would wish I could snap my fingers and be 15-star tomorrow, like that's not how it works. So took matters into my own hand, and I was like, you know what? I can't have a diamond retreat right now, but I could have a Success Club and Emerald retreat. So I planned it. We had it out here in Colorado in May. It was amazing. And 4 of my leaders ended up hitting diamond right within that month of either right before leading up at the retreat, someone hit it, and then 2 hit it right after, right before summit. And I'm not saying you need to go have some amazing retreat or something. Use that in whatever you have those thoughts about right now. If you're like, oh, I wish my team did this, or I wish I had a sneak peek, or I wish I had an email template, go create it and make it. You are your own CEO. You're your own boss. You probably didn't get into this business to have another micromanager boss managing you. I know I had that in corporate America and I hated it. So I got into this business for more freedom, but to get that freedom and to get to where you want to go in your business, you have to take matters into your own hands. And because you guys do have an amazing upline, I'm sure you could go to Michelle with ideas and be like, hey, can we do this as a team? And I'm sure she would love to hear ideas and suggestions. So just take my little story and put it into whatever is going on in your head right now of I wish I had blank, and go create it or partner up with someone and create it, and just don't wait for someone else to build the business that you want to have. All right. That was pretty much it, guys. I wanted to say one last thing. I had 4 tips, and then I kind of always add a bonus for 5 because I'm long-winded if you can't tell. Let me see here. Okay, so this one is more just recently in my business, and it's something that I think is really important and that I'm still working through. So like I don't have the answers yet, but I'm gonna get them someday, and I'm gonna speak on stage at Summit about it. But I think it's so important. You can, being in this business for almost 3 years, it's really easy to get caught up in the daily things. Like, all right, every day I have to send messages, every day I have to send invites. And it can get kind of monotonous, and you really need to still find that joy in the process, that joy in the journey, whether it's making a free group that you're super excited about or whatever it is. Like, make sure you're finding joy in this and make sure you're balanced. So this is something I've worked on with therapy, and this is just a super personal example, guys, so keep it in this thread, but I realized by going to therapy and everything that I have always just been a hustler. I now hate the word hustle, but I've always just been so go, 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 go my entire life, like from childhood to high school to college. Like, just to give you an example of what I mean, in high school, I obviously went to school all day. I went straight from school to either cross country or track practice from 3 to 5. I would go home, get home at like 5:25, shove dinner down my face for 5 minutes because I'd have to leave for a dance at 5:40, get to dance from like 6 to 9. I competed in dance. I like lived at my dance studio, and then get home at like 9:15, 9:30, do homework, go to bed, repeat the next day. At the time, I loved it. I saw no issue with it. But looking back now, I never learned how to relax. So maybe some of you can relate, maybe some of you can't, but I never learned how to stop going. I never learned how to sit still and turn my brain off because I've always just been go, go, go. So that translated through to college, where I studied all the time. Like, I overstudied, I'm sure, in college because I had this like success, like need to get A's, need to make my parents proud by getting A's, and need to study all the time. And I saw all these people having fun, and I was like, gotta study, gotta study. And it did, like, stuff like that you don't even recognize in the moment. But then I let that transfer over to my business because you guys heard my story of when I was working corporate 50 hours a week, going to grad school online full time, taking care of a puppy, and coaching until 11 at night. Like, I had to then because I wanted to grow my business, but I let that transfer over into when I'd started this full time. It's really easy. First of all, no matter how much time you have, if you have 3 hours, tell yourself you have 1 and schedule something there, because you'll take however long it is that you have to get something done when it really can be done so much faster. So my problem came in where I had all day now. I work from home. I sit here with my dog. Tyler's off at school. We don't have any family in Colorado. Like, I was like, I have all day to grow my business. Like, this is awesome. When really it's not, because then you take all day to do your tasks. And I got very out of the habit of doing other things. And this is honestly the most free time I've ever had in my life. But I had to learn how to set those boundaries then, because I didn't know what to do with the free time. So I just worked. And that's not to say I was any more productive or got anything else more done of what I could get done in 3 hours. But what I'm telling you this because you need to have that balance. You need to say, like, now my business, just so you guys can see from a full-time perspective, I shut my laptop at 5 o'clock every day, except if I'm doing a team call like this. But I don't do any other work. I do the team call. I'm going to go watch This Is Us after this. You have to set those boundaries for yourself. I don't work on the weekends anymore. Like, I know some coaches do, I just don't. I think work-life balance is very important. And I let my clients know that, like, you guys aren't going to get an answer from me on the weekend. You can wait till Monday when my business is open. And I know some clients want that coach that answers 24/7, and that's just not me. I've had clients switch because of that. And you know what? I just have to be like, that's not my person then. Like, I am not a 24/7 speed dial number. Like, I'm not going to answer a text while I'm eating dinner with my fiance about what broccoli they should get at the grocery store. Like, honestly, those are some of the texts I was getting, and you have to set those boundaries. I don't give any of my clients or coaches my phone number. We communicate all while I'm working online. They have my phone number. They can text me as a friend, like if they want to text me about their husband or their kids or whatever, but they can't text me about business. So you guys have to set boundaries for yourself, and I really recommend setting them up now as a coach, as an emerald coach, as a diamond coach, because then you can translate those through your entire business. So make sure you have those boundaries. Make sure you're setting those times for yourself, your business hours, and keep the fun in it and go do other things. Like, you're inspired when you go out and do other things than just sit at home and do this business. So while yes, you have to put in the work more quickly and be really intentional with your time. That way you're working when you're working and you're not when you're not. So you can be with your kids, you can be with your family, and your phone is in a totally different room. So That's all, guys. I hope some of that was helpful, but I can let you guys ask any questions.
That was amazing, Emily. So many takeaways, so many notes that I took. I hope all of you took a lot of notes and had a lot of great takeaways as well. But let's not keep Emily too long. But yeah, she'll take any questions if you guys have any questions. Any questions?
Really drinking out of my Penn State Yeti too.
I love that you ended with that tip about being really intentional with your time, because I am a firm believer that, yeah, like you can waste a whole lot of time and do a lot of time sucking activities when you're trying to run this business, when truly, if you just are, focusing on the right activities and the vitals, you can get it done so quickly, and it does not need to take up a lot of your time. So I love that you ended with that. And I love that the reminder about the consistency plus intensity plus time equals momentum. That was good to hear again tonight too, because I love that too. Any questions or any thoughts or anything before we go? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much.
I don't bite. Someone tell me what your favorite takeaway was. I want to hear what you guys are going to put into action after this. So I always say, I don't care what like motivational thing I can give you. I want to know how you're going to take it and then use it in your business to help you.
I love your action. Well, I'm echoing all of a sudden, but I love the actions that you took about creating your own retreat, and that gives me good ideas for our team. So thanks for sharing that.
I liked when you said talking about the dream job I never knew existed, and just that reminder that there are people out there who haven't heard of this opportunity, and like our world is so saturated with it that it's easy to forget that.
Yeah, and honestly, every time I say it on a team call, it's like a reminder to myself. I like to see it in my notes, and I'm like, remember that, Emily.
I liked when you talked about being consistent with the time, like 1 hour, if that's all you have that day, like just using that to be consistent. That's my train rides. I'm going to work on using those to be consistent and just inviting at least a few people each day.
Perfect. And I definitely recommend too having that minimum number set in your head, so you know, like, okay, once I hit this minimum number, first of all, you got your goal, but then you can shut your computer too without feeling, or your phone or whatever, without feeling like you need to do more. And just a tip that I can give you guys for some of the girls on my team, my corporate job was 7 to 5 every day. So my routine never changed. I did the same amount of power hour every day. But some of my girls work like overnight nursing shifts, or they have 3 days on, 4 days off, or they're working like a 12 or 14 hour shift. And they were trying to do power hour dailies, but got really frustrated and like down on themselves when they wouldn't get an hour in that day when they had a 12-hour work shift. So what we did for them was more of like the win the week type of tracker. But I always say to still have that minimum number. So plan out your week on a Sunday or whenever your week starts. And if you're like, okay, I have a 12-hour shift on Tuesday, but I'm off on Wednesday, whatever your job is, if you have a schedule like that, then you can say, you know what, I'm not going to do a power hour on Tuesday. I still will do my workout and my personal development and stuff, but I'm going to do X amount of invites on Wednesday and X amount on Thursday. So you have these expectations in your head and you're not feeling guilty or letting yourself down if you can't do it on a certain day. Like, that's totally okay, but set up your week ahead of time so you know, okay, I'm going to do 5 invites on Wednesday. I'm going to do 5 on Thursday, but Tuesday it's okay if I don't do any, if you have like a minimum goal for the week.
Anyone else have any takeaways?
I'll go.
All right, Dawn, go ahead.
It really hit when you were talking about being more useful with your time, because I think that's where I'm struggling more. I don't know why I'm starting to get like that, but I definitely resonate with, if you have 3 hours, give yourself 1. I just think I'm literally going to start setting a timer and say, this, I know what I need to do, but I don't know if I'm doing the mindless scrolling, if I'm getting the, the ideas that I want right away. So if I find like things are wasting time, I just have to like move on, and go from there. And if it just give myself 1 hour as opposed to saying, oh, I have 3 and stop wasting the time.
Yeah,
Loved
it's
it.
so easy. It's so easy to get stuck in the Instagram stories or in someone else's feed and you don't even realize it and 10 minutes go by. So, and even just even if I've told myself I have 1 hour, but subconsciously I know I have 3. So what I've started doing too is literally scheduling other things that I need to go to, like a yoga class, or I go to Orange Theory some, or even I text like one of my accountability partners and I'm like, hey, I have to get this done in an hour. I'm going to check back in with you, because it's another layer of accountability where it's not just me. It's like something else.
Good idea. Good idea. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I liked what you said about the personal development, because I was also like never really a big reader, and I always like quickness. And it's something that's also really helped me. I listen to Audible all the time, but I've been reading a ton since Beachbody.
Perfect. I love it.
Thank you for also sharing about shift workers, because I'm a respiratory therapist, so I work 12 hours. So sometimes it's hard to get in my personal development stuff, and I start to feel guilty about that. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. No, and I think it is just setting that expectation with yourself. That way you don't have that guilt. Because when you start to have that guilt, then the confidence goes down. Even in my position of full time, like I can have a million long to-do lists. And if I don't get to all of it at the end of the day, it's like that your confidence goes down. So I've had to shift that and be like, you know what are the 3 things I need to get done versus 20, and then setting that expectation for the day. So I definitely am glad that you got that takeaway, just to have that expectation in your head of what's realistic. That way you can feel confident knowing I did what I said I was going to do, and now tomorrow is a new day.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And the one other thing, and that was like your first tip, deciding your all in, like what it is, what all in means for you. Like I love the different examples of that, because I think that that's so important when you're making a decision. Your all in does not need to be, my all in or Emily's all in. It has to be what you decide.
I'll watch it now.
With. But okay, well, thank you so much, Emily. I appreciate you taking the time to share with us. And she's like all perky and like still awake, because she's 2 hours behind us. As you can see, we're all East Coasters and ready to go to bed.
I mean, I'm going to watch This Is Us and then go to bed after. So.
But yeah, I was just, as you were like all excited, and I feel like I'm realizing that we're like, all of us are like starting to fade, but it's because it's late here.
No, I'm from Pennsylvania, so I know how it goes.
Yeah. But okay, well, thank you so much, and thank you for everyone who hopped on, and I hope you all have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, bye.